Hi, welcome back to my channel. As you can obviously see, I'm doing things a little bit differently. This whole reading is going to actually be a little bit different. I don't know what that means about my future readings or how they're going to look, but I felt like it made sense to kind of record this as a kind of a podcast kind of thing. I don't know. Whatever, let's get into it. So, the title of this is The Hierophant, the Hanged Muse, and the Hermit, because when I asked what the theme of this reading should be, those are the cards that came out. But I should say that I knew from the way that I approached this, from the way that this reading was kind of like, I felt like it was necessary for me to do a reading that was pertinent to my life in this moment that might help other people that are in a similar moment. Like, I knew this reading was gonna not just be for whoever I'm reading for. Like, I knew this was also for me, basically. Um, so these are not actually the main cards that I pulled for, like, the expansion part of the reading. I'm thinking right now that maybe I'm going to put those cards on the screen next. But let's start with the Hierophant and the Hanged Muse and the Hermit. So this reading is for people that that feel stagnant or have felt stagnant, felt stuck in a pattern or a habit that they want to be over. They've seen how it's impacted their life. They've seen how it's impacted others. They've seen, you know, and they're tired of it and they want it to be over. This stagnation is exhausting. And what the Hierophant, the Hanged Muse, and the Hermit are all cards that, all these cards talk about stillness, the importance of stillness and listening. And so, what I think is important to put as my intro before I even get into the tea girl, is that the answer to your question on how do I release this pattern? How do I stop being stagnant? How do I move forward? Is actually transforming stagnancy into stillness. That's what it is. I mean, embracing stillness is going to be the emphasis of this reading, is going to be like what I return to over and over again, I think. Because stagnancy requires a level of disassociation from self. And in order to move from there, you have to first acknowledge that you are distant from yourself, and you have to first acknowledge how painful that distance is. And in order to do that, you have to be still. This reading is definitely for people that feel a little desperate to make a change. And I know that because I'm desperate to make a change. I'm desperate for things to not be this way. Side note, I find that meditation is helpful for this stillness. For a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, meditation is going to be very helpful, or has been very helpful for me, I should say. But I should also say that, so that's what I meant to say. Sorry, not but. So if you feel that you would like some more information about how I have approached meditation as someone that used to hate it and was very averse to it, how I've approached it and changed my relationship with it, please let me know. That can be a video that I make. But for now, I'm going to shift over to the cards that I pulled And I'm going to actually, I think, pull them up on the screen. Let's hope that works. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I'm hoping that this isn't too quiet because it's kind of showing up on this little recorder app as quiet, but I had to restart. I already did like 15 minutes of this and then it shut off. I don't know how long I was talking past that, so I hope I don't miss anything important. So we have 9 of Wands, 6 of Baskets, and the Muse of Emotions. And those 2 cards are expanded by the Muse of Emotions. Then we have 8 of Wands expanded by 4 of Emotions in the Sun. Then we have the Empress and the Hanged Man expanded by Awakening. So I'm going to go like set by set. I kind of think of the first 3 cards, Sign of Wands, 9 of Wands, 6 of Baskets, Muse of Emotions as one set. 8 of Wands, 4 of Emotions in the Sun is the second set. The Empress, the Hanged Man, and the Awakening as the third set. So I'm going to talk like 1, 2, and then 3. 3 is definitely like the longest that I've written. But 2 is where I always get hung up on because I try to like figure out how to get out what I'm trying to say and it never feels right. So we'll see how this goes. I've tried to record this like a billion times, guys. Not on podcast, like video. Like I've tried to make a record of. Anyways, let's get started. So 9 of Wands and 6 of Baskets, Muse of Emotions. The point: acknowledge that you are suffering. Feel the hurt and pain you're experiencing and affirm yourself. Do not try and change who you are right now before you've accepted and shown unconditional love for yourself right now. Do not try to get worthy of your own love. Remind yourself that you are worthy of it already. You have to be still. You have to acknowledge that the stagnation you've experienced has been painful, that it has created a wound that has festered, and you are feeling the pain of it. You are exhausted. Your energy is consistently sapped from this pattern or habit, and you suffer because of it. And I'm not saying this to be like to beat yourself up about it. I'm saying this to be like, no, you need to be so compassionate to yourself because regardless of why you're doing why you're suffering, you are suffering. And I think that this is like really important to remember when it comes to these like kind of self-inflicted wounds or self-inflicted sufferings. Like a lot of people are like, well, like I think a lot of people, or at least me, because I blame myself for the fact that I am suffering, I downplay how bad it hurts. But whoever, forget who caused it. Like, focus on the pain for a second. Like, feel the pain. The pain wants to be felt. The exhaustion wants to be felt. Like, you have to acknowledge, like, wow, like, this sucks and I don't like it. You have to feel it. You have to feel it all the way through. Yeah. And you have to be so compassionate with yourself because you're in pain. Like you should always be compassionate with yourself, but especially when you're in pain. When you're hurting, that is not the time to double down on the pain. Like it is not the time to beat yourself up more. It's the time to be really kind to yourself and say, I'm so sorry that you're in pain. And it's okay to express that you're in pain. Tell yourself that you're a safe space for yourself. This is a safe space to be tired of hurting. This is a safe space to hurt. Then we have approach yourself honestly. Don't hide behind how bad you feel that you have negatively impacted others in some way, or how bad you feel that other people are succeeding in ways that you aren't, or in some kind of comparison or in relation to other people. Don't try not to focus on that. Focus instead on who am I and have my actions been in accordance with the person that I know I am? What do I believe is right and true about this world? Have my actions been in alignment with what I know is right and true in this world? And then again, this calls for stillness. This specifically calls for both the hierophant and the hermit, both external seeking of what has been what that's expected of me is true and good for me, and what do I know about myself. Like, go within and go out. Like, yeah. And like, this honest reflection does not require, nor like, I actually warn against you trying to either coddle yourself or like beat yourself up. Like, the middle ground is being like, I have done things that I am doing things that don't line up with who I want to be. Who, and matter of fact, take out the wannabe, with who I am. I'm doing things that don't line up with who I am. And just sit with that. Yeah. Just sit with that for a bit. Like, literally, I am making decisions that are not in line with who I am, what I know to be true about who I am, not just to myself, but who I am in this world. Okay. There's more to say there, but I'll get to it when I address the third. I think what I have to say will be addressed by the third point. We'll see. This is a long one. Shift your perspective through contemplative action in the present. What I mean by that, okay, how do I, okay, I'm going to read the sentence. This is from my perspective. You would read it from your perspective, and you can shift it like how you need to shift it. If whatever, I'm going to say it. I understand the version of myself that made those decisions. I am also coming to understand the version of myself now who makes different decisions. Both are a part of me, and one part is more presently relevant to the actions I choose to take. Let me break that down. This is you both acknowledging and loving the parts of yourself that repeat that, the version or versions of yourself that repeat patterns that hurt you, and also acknowledging and accepting the version of yourself that doesn't make those decisions. And through thinking of things like by looking at things through this lens, you can say, yeah, it the version of yourself that makes decisions that are not in alignment with who you are can be in the past as soon as right now with this perspective. Because you are integrating her into you instead of shoving her away like this past version of yourself, like you've been doing, like you've, I think, been like, this isn't me, this isn't me, this isn't me. No, that is you. The person that is making those decisions is you. And it's not the only version of you that exists. And it's not the version of you that you have to um be right now in this moment. Like, in this moment, you can say, I make a different decision because I understand myself better. I understand what my values are better. I hope that made sense. Let me just keep going in case that didn't make sense, and hopefully it'll get cleared up. I feel like it's not going to get cleared up. Okay, whatever. Be aware that shifting from who you have been to who you are right now will likely involve challenges and discomfort. I would say not to be afraid of these moments of difficulties because I think, or what I've gotten, is that the pain that comes with this shift will feel meaningful in a way that the pain you've experienced during stagnancy has not. And because even though it is a new pain, even though change is hard, I think that the meaning it takes, the meaning behind the pain, will give you the courage you need to continue. I really, really believe that. And you should know that as you make different decisions, you shape your own reality. And as you make decisions that are more in alignment with who you are, your reality will shift to mold to the person that you are. Joy and pain is like sunshine and rain, baby. I'm trying to think if there's more here. Shift your perspective through contemplative action in the present. I understand the version of myself that made those decisions. I'm also coming to understand the version of myself now who makes different decisions. Both are a part of me, but one part is more presently relevant to the actions I choose to take. I am not ashamed of the decisions I've made that have caused my own suffering for reasons that are not worth suffering. Whatever. I understand her. I feel like the reason I said whatever is not to dismiss the feeling behind what I said, but rather like I feel like I botched it there at the end. But anyways, because I'm not ashamed of her, I can make a different decision because I know that I am not ashamed. Because part of shame, it hides your power. When you're ashamed of making a decision, you hide the fact that you made the decision. It's hidden in the shame. I hope that makes sense. But when you acknowledge, no, I did that, then you start to realize I can do something else too. If I did that, I can do something else. If I chose that, I chose to create that reality. I chose to make that, to perpetuate that pattern. I chose to do that thing. If you acknowledge that you chose to do it, then you can also choose something new. Yeah, that's what I got to say. Um, I don't really have anything else. Signing off, I guess. Hope this was helpful. Um, sending you so much love, so much love. Sending you much love. Goodbye.